We are live. I'm turning on my mic, people.
What are you doing today?
Let's see. I'm going to talk about a couple fun things. Bear with me here. I know I'm 15 minutes late. Hello, Fred. Can you hear me okay? Let me double check. See that. Test. Yep, we're good. All right. Let me go to a bigger view here. So actually, quite a few things to talk about today. I'll get to the fun stuff towards the middle. I do want to put out some answers for those that have questions about terminology. There's some things in crypto that are unique. It's words that you don't use in everyday life. One of the first things that I want to touch base on, and I'm sure staff here will clip out certain sections and maybe do a little what is section. So Web3, if you heard the term Web3, and you know, it's something that obviously not a normal conversation, but for me, Web3 is brought up all the time. First, to understand what Web3 is, you have to understand what Web 1 was. Pretty much up to the dot-com bubble in the year 2000. Everything before that was Web 1. After the bubble burst, for the last, basically, give or take 20 years, has been a Web 2.0, and that's what brought about the, you know, all the social media that you use today, all your favorite toys when you go online are pretty much built in a Web 2.0 architecture. So it's that's Web 2.0. Now, blockchain technology is Web 3.0, and it changes everything. Hello to anyone that's just joined. So a lot of people don't understand how blockchain technology is going to change what we do and its application. It's a really efficient way to move data around. It's a really efficient way to store things. It's got some incredible inherent checks and balances. So from pushing out potentially, like, software updates can all go through the blockchain. Ticketing systems can go through the blockchain. Obviously, they've developed currencies, apps sitting on it. We're going to see ways that blockchain technology is used for everything from, hey, Red Rebel, that we didn't even think of. So lending, of course, you're seeing through blockchain. So blockchain technology, it's really just a matter of people looking at it through a different lens and saying, if we use blockchain and Web3 type technology to develop or to reconfigure our stuff, what does it allow us to do that we can't with Web 2.0? And the answer is significant. Hello for anyone joining. I see viewers jumping in. So so Web3, one of the most basic things you'll hear is what is Web3? And it's pretty much anything made from here to the foreseeable future. If they're savvy, they'll be building these tools in Web3. The other thing is blockchain. What is a blockchain? Well, quite simply, a blockchain is it's a ledger system. It's a centralized place to store all of your data, and then they can decentralize it by storing it in multiple places. Hey, Tanya, can you help me out with something? Tanya, can you help me out with something real quick?
Yeah.
Can you move the camera like a foot over so it's more centered? Would you bear with me real quick, people?
Yeah, a little blurry.
Our rooms, yeah. Oh, I'm Chris. You guys can see the fact that I didn't shave for the last couple days. So we've been focused on work. I'm going to go over what we're working on. I see we have more people. Thanks. So more people jumping in. That's fantastic. So just to give you guys an update, I'm going to be going through some typical things, whether it's blockchain, Web3, why holding is important, things like that real quick. I do have some conversation to go over with what's going on in the industry, what's the merge and why anyone should care. And I want to talk about the coin and some things that we've been doing behind the scenes and hard work that's getting put in here. For anyone that's not in Telegram, that's going to be the good info. So, another thing that I had some lay people here at the office that are not crypto savvy, and they were basically they were asking a million different questions, and it became abundantly clear it is really hard when you're tech savvy not to even use I used acronyms, even using like an acronym AI, like what's AI? What does that even mean? And I'm like, oh, it's artificial intelligence. And then I had to explain, what is AI? How is it different than traditional, programs you write? And I was able to explain that, like, okay, well, AI is a different. Traditional, you say 2 + 2 = 4. And AI, you say all these things, I'm going to feed a bunch of things, and these all equal 4. I'm not going to tell you what equation it is. Just analyze these. Everything I'm feeding you right now equals 4. And then you feed it stuff and you ask a simple question, is it equal to 4? And it's able to tell you yes or no. So it's a little different way of, that's just kind of a dumbed down version of explaining it. But they were like, oh, that makes sense. So I need to get better at communicating really hard, complex subjects without getting too technical. But for those of us that are a little more savvy, obviously the technical stuff is more in your lane. So Web3, blockchain, currency. Currency is just one thing that's going to run on blockchain, and it is a really cool thing. It's kind of like an application that's loaded onto a blockchain, and it through smart contracts, it tells it what to do, how much coin to make, when to mint, whether to mint new coin, whether to auto burn, whether to donate to sit, who to send what portions. Thanks, sir. So let's go ahead, and we've gone over some basic terminology for some of the rookies amongst us. Let's talk about the merge. If you've been looking at the news, Ethereum did a test of basically their migration from proof of work to proof of stake. And the reason I want to talk about that is, if you don't know the difference between what is proof of work and what is proof of stake in crypto, it's kind of like there's two camps of how they run as far as validating and processing all these transactions that get recorded on the ledger. When let's start with the first one that was ever concepted, which was a proof of work model. When you hear people talking about mining, that's all proof of work model type stuff. Proof of work, because people have to physically crunch numbers to mine and validate transactions, uses a ton of energy. And Bitcoin's on a proof of work. Ethereum's on proof of work. Now, Ethereum is trying to move over to proof of stake, where you earn coin not by crunching numbers to validate, but where you earn coin by staking or risking your tokens, and you have a chance to earn a reward. So the proof of stake model has some huge bonuses. Where before, for the miners, the more coin they have, they can basically leverage that to earn more coin. Proof of stake, same concept. You have more coin, you leverage it to earn more. But proof of stake, I think of, or proof of work picture a track and field. There's a football field and there's a track around it. Picture 10 people lining up on the starting line, and the gun goes off and all 10 run around the track, and there's one winner, and it's one person by the nose. That's kind of proof of work. All 10 people have to run the race, but only one winner. And which means that you wasted 9 other people's time and energy, because they might as well not run at all, because only that one winner per race. So it wastes a ton of energy. And when you have 10 runners, it's not wasting that much. It's wasting 9 people's energy. But when you got thousands of runners, now you're wasting and there's only one winner. You're wasting a lot of collective energy. People trying to, because there's only one winner. So proof of stake, it's the same track. It's the same phenomenon of energy. It's just a little different. If you have 10 runners, you pre-select one as the winner, right? And only that one spends its energy. You still have to spend energy validating, but there's not 9 losers every time. There's just pre-selected winners. And the nice thing for transaction speed is the other 9 guys that are sitting there when the one guy is running around the track, the other 9 people in the starting line, they can be tapped. Now you validate this one, and number 3, you go ahead and validate that one. So they might all be running around the track, but they're all validating different things, and they're not wasting their time and energy. So that's kind of the key. Sorry, I'm looking up at the screen to look at what's typed or anything like that, and viewers. So anyway, that's kind of the core difference as far as energy usage, and that's why Ethereum is trying to frantically, and has been for years now, move over to a proof of stake model, so that they're geared for the future. Because anyone that looks at the amount of energy that just Bitcoin uses on its old caveman proof of work model, it uses a ton of energy, more than a small country. Its transaction speed, because it gets so bloated over time. Sorry, I just ate lunch. Gets so bloated over time, is transaction speeds are dead slow and sluggish. And then it also gets really expensive to process a transaction. So it's kind of like, lose for the environment, lose for transaction speed, and it's a lose for cost, which is, most people care. I mean, yeah, I want to leave a good planet behind for my kids, grandkids, all that. Transaction time, if it's long transactions, it isn't really good for a lot of tasks. We need things quick, and then cost is huge. So Ethereum, though, I didn't think that it was going to be able to do its migration as quickly as it has, because it's a major technological feat moving from a proof of work to proof of stake. So here's my 2-cent projection, and I offer this just as this is not investment advice. I do think that Ethereum is going to see, it's already seeing this week a 19% bump in price. 19% is pretty big for Ethereum, and if with this news, and then as they do another test and move on to the next step, and then when they go live, I do expect that if there's preemptive price hikes in anticipation of a successful merge. The merge is just basically their way of saying that they're going between proof of work to proof of stake model. And there's a high possibility their price is going to go up once they're proof of stake. It does not solve all their issues. They still have some setbacks, but it is a major hurdle, because make no mistake, since they're the oldest non-caveman coin, where they're a smart coin with smart contracts, they're the original, and everything on the Ethereum network can potentially experience a bump. The way that liquidity pools and the pairs that are formed in them work is that if, like Anubit coin, for instance, if you guys are wondering the mechanics between it, we're paired with BNB. If BNB goes up in price, it drags our price up. If BNB goes down in price, it drags our price and liquidity down. So because whatever you pair with has a effect on the whole pair, everything that if Ethereum goes up in price, every token on the Ethereum blockchain is going to be dragged up a little bit. It's not the guarantee that it's going up in price just because it's some token on Ethereum, because there's other market pressure. Like if your price is on a downhill trend and it goes up, it's gonna make your decline in price slower. So for assets that are just going away, or their price is bottoming out, Ethereum going up is not going to solve it for them. They're still going to bottom out. And the opposite is true. If Ethereum price is dropping, but something is just a stellar asset on the Ethereum network, it can overcome any dragging down like an anchor. It can still like float up to the top and do well. It just puts a pressure with it. It makes it harder to succeed if Ethereum's going down, and it makes it harder to lose if Ethereum's going up. It is the anchor or the balloon, respectively, that's going to generally pull in those directions. So it's because there's a brand new tool that was made. I don't know if it was made for cryptocurrency, but the liquidity pool and the automated market maker are as far as I know, a different way of doing it versus order book style like they do in the stock market. And those tools, because you're paired, those tools have that effect where it's a bit of a marriage, and if they can drag each other up or drag each other down respectively, and so that's why whenever you're looking at coin market cap and all those graphs generally trend, and they all look about the same.